debating about in the sports culture right now, and that's Eli Manning. People are asking, is Eli Manning a first ballot Hall of Famer? What is he or not?
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm a fan, obviously, of all the Mannings. Peyton Manning was the quarterback for my team. Obviously, I loved Eli at the same time. I hated the Patriots, so I was rooting hard for Eli in those Super Bowls. Obviously, Arch Manning now is a Texas Longhorn, another part of one of my teams. So I love the Mannings. I love Eli. I think Eli is funny. I think he's I think he was a great quarterback when the pressure was on. You could make the argument he was better than Peyton in the playoffs. Like when it was time to win, he was clutch. Here's how I've decided this. If someone asks me, is somebody a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I got to think about it, then they're not first ballot.
Facts.
So Eli is a Hall of Famer. He is. There's no way he's not. You win 2 Super Bowls and you beat Brady in both of them. You're a Hall of Famer. And let's not act like he was just a scrub other than those 2 Super Bowl runs. But if I got to think about whether you're first ballot, then you're not first ballot. And that's my only thing. So Eli deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's not first ballot. Same thing goes with Phillip Rivers, with Big Ben, with Russell Wilson, all them. If I got to think about it, then you're not first ballot. If I say Peyton Manning, you're going to say, okay, no doubt, first ballot. If I say Brady, you're going to say, no doubt, first ballot. If I say Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, you're going to be like, all right, yeah, no doubt about it. If I got to think about it, you're not first ballot. But Eli's got good numbers, 2 Super Bowl wins, and both of them over Brady, and he beat the 18-0 Patriots. He's a Hall of Famer, just not first ballot.
All right,
You
I'll
got
go
Reed?
next.
Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead,
go-
see. Go ahead, see.
Oh, you jumping on me? You jumping on me, see?
My bad, my boy. Go ahead, do your thing. Because you done set up and everything, man.
So this hurts because I'm a Washington fan. I hate the Giants. I hate Eli. I'm stuck a little bit on this one, but this is where I'm gonna go with it. As box office said, he beat an undefeated team, a team that's about to be undefeated. That's crazy. The Patriots. And then his second Super Bowl, he beat them again. Now my pushback is, to me, Eli Manning on the Giants is Draymond Green to the Golden State Warriors. That's my pushback. Draymond's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. Draymond's stats is not that crazy. Eli's stats overall is not that crazy at all. But as box office said, in the playoffs, his playoff runs was amazing. But them Super Bowls, he didn't do that much. He had key plays in the final 2 drives of each one. But his numbers wasn't that crazy. What won them, those Super Bowls, was that NASCAR front line that held that 18-0 Patriots team to what? In the teens? Who's seen that coming? Like, they were scoring 30, 35 regularly. The defense won those Super Bowls.
Under 17 points.
But he
Under
was
17.
they scored 14, but he was clutch though. He had game-winning drive.
Definitely clutch. Definitely was clutch. To me, he's Draymond Green. Draymond Green's going to the Hall of Fame. Draymond Green is not a first ballot. Draymond Green on any other team would not be nobody. And Eli, same thing. Eli got lucky, and I got to give him credit. He got it, but Eli got lucky being on a great defensive line. They literally changed defensive lines. That made everyone start doing that NASCAR package and putting speed everywhere rather than just having the 2 big DTs and the DEs on the outside. They changed that all up. So I'm going to say he is a Hall of Famer. You can't take away 2 Super Bowls. You just can't end against who they did it against. But the way he did it, his numbers is not impressive at all. Like, I wouldn't even vote him in the second time around. Maybe the fourth. But he is a Hall of Famer. He was buns. Like, he already showed up against us, and he ain't Dallas. You know who a Cowboys fan? You was Kia, right? Y'all disrespected him every time y'all played him. Like, when he played against talent before the little 2 playoff runs, he didn't do anything. So I respect the 2 Super Bowls. You got to give him his credit. He go get in the Hall of Fame, but he won't be first, second. He shouldn't be first, second, or third ballot, in my opinion.
All right. So let me clear this up. Let me clear this up for y'all fellas. All right. So we know Eli Manning mainly for three things. One, Peyton Manning's little brother, right? Two, uh, he was the one who was drafted first and was willing to hold out if they didn't trade him to New York. And three, he's the quarterback that beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl. Those are his accomplishments. Now, his numbers, his numbers alone are not Hall of Fame worthy. So we got to go about his accomplishments, right? So is the Peyton Manning's little brother thing good enough to get him in the Hall of Fame? No. Is the holding out till he got traded on draft day thing enough to get him into the Hall of Fame? No. But is the beating the New England Patriots and Tom Brady at their highest point of any Tom Brady team in the Super Bowl, not once, but twice, is that enough to get him into the Hall of Fame? Yes, that's enough to get him into the Hall of Fame. But is it enough to get him in there on the first ballot? That's the question. Um, then it starts breaking down to me to my eye test. Um, did Eli put fear in anybody's team when y'all said, okay, we got to play the Giants? Did
Nope.
you be like, oh Lord, here come Eli
No.
Manning? Them?
Never.
Nobody.
Never.
I
And he
never,
kicked our
I
ass.
never, I never feared playing the Giants. When Eli was there, I know he was solid. He was a solid quarterback. He definitely was a solid quarterback. He was worth the number one pick, obviously, because they won 2 Super Bowls under him.
For sure. For sure.
But he wasn't a quarterback that put fear in your heart. Um, it kind of this is a bad comparison, but it's kind of how I compare him. Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw. I know none of us were alive or able to watch Terry Bradshaw really play in his heyday. But I never heard anybody talk about how they feared Terry Bradshaw playing. It was Terry Bradshaw and the rest of that super Pittsburgh Steelers team. It was their defense. It was their receivers. It was their running game. It was their coach. It was everything else. But Terry Bradshaw just was the quarterback. Now his numbers, he had solid numbers. He had solid numbers, but he doesn't have blow you away numbers. So I look at him. Was he a first round Hall of Famer? I believe so. And I think that's mostly because of all of his Super Bowl wins, right?
Yeah.
So if he can get in off his Super Bowl wins and average numbers, I think Eli could get in off his Super Bowl wins and his average numbers. He was a solid quarterback. Terry Bradshaw was a solid quarterback. He wasn't an elite quarterback. Nobody ever has him in their top 5 quarterbacks of all time, even though he has what 3, 4 Super Bowls. I don't think he has 4, right? Yeah. I don't think anybody has him in their top 5, maybe even top 10 quarterbacks of all time list. So he was a solid quarterback, but he was a part of a team at the right time. Same thing as Eli. He got in the first round. I'm putting Eli in there, especially because of I'll never forget that. The man was that too, baby. Yeah.
The only thing I'm gonna say is I mean, we all agree he's a Hall of Famer, but his numbers aren't so bad. Like y'all have made it seem a little bit like his numbers are better than John Elway's. Y'all realize that,
different
right?
different game though.
Different
Different
era.
game.
Different
It,
era for
it was
sure.
a different game,
Yeah.
yes, but they ended up with the same rings, and Eli had better numbers actually. Now I know Elway had, I think Elway won MVP. Yeah, he
That's
did.
another thing.
He won.
MVPs.
Yeah, it helps, but I'm just
I
saying,
get you though. I get you.
Eli's numbers aren't as bad as people think. Like his numbers are actually very
I,
solid,
I
and
think
like
what hurts Eli though,
longevity thing.
I think what hurts Eli though box office is I think he's like 117 and 117 as
Yeah,
far as for a career. So you was barely 500 for the whole career. Oh,
That's crazy.
like he
I'm
was
with
great in the
box office what he
playoffs.
said. That's always my greatest stat. if I got to think about you being a Hall of Famer, that tells me right there that either you're not or you're not first ballot. So for me, he's not first ballot for sure. And when I look at his numbers in the postseason, he went to the playoffs 6 times. In those 6 times, he was one and done 4 of those 6 times. One and done. Bye bye.
Ooh,
And literally
but
played
them
horrible.
two. Ooh,
Played
but them two.
horrible in those 4 games. In those 4 games that he lost, he threw 3 touchdowns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interceptions in the 4 games that he lost. And that was one and done. Now, in those 2 runs against the Patriots, Eli turned into Superman. I don't know what. I know we give him credit in the Super Bowl what he did, but in the postseason, he went in 2007, he was 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. But in 2011, he was 9 touchdowns to 1 interception, 1,200 yards, 4 wins, and a Super Bowl trophy. I can't knock that. I can't knock that at all. That's fire. So I do think that he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think that he's first ballot because, I think about people like Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner wasn't, I think Kurt Warner got it his 3rd time, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's like the 2nd or 3rd time. Kurt Warner, to me, at one point was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I've never viewed Eli Manning as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Kurt won MVP, didn't he?
Kurt Warner, yeah, but when he was the Rams, they were ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I just look at Eli, and I can even say this. What's crazy is in the regular season, I can make a case his entire career. I think he played 15, 16 years. I didn't even think he was the top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Never.
So that's insane to say that a guy that wasn't a top 5 quarterback at his position is going to make the Hall of Fame. But those 2 postseason runs, we can't take that from him. We can't take that from him. I'm not going to take it from him. Kurt Schilling in the regular season wasn't great as a baseball player. But boy, when the postseason came, it was a different game. So I'm going to say yes, Eli Manning should make the Hall of Fame, just not first ballot.
I like that Kirk Schilling.
Yeah, man. I think he will get into Hall of Fame, just not a first ballot. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. The guy he was 117 as a starter. He was a 500 quarterback. That's average at best. Average 117 as a starter. You led the league in interceptions 3 times throughout your career. You had a total of 16 seasons. You only made the playoffs 6 times. You're telling me you missed the playoff 10 times throughout your career, and we're calling you a first ballot Hall of Famer? And let's not forget, I thought his career would have been over years ago if it wasn't for Odell Beckham in his first 2 seasons setting records. Odell Beckham possibly may have saved his career during that time when Eli was his quarterback. So he was 60% as a passer throughout his career is not so bad. He was under 50 when it came to his QBR for his total career also.
And Keel, let me just point this out. Brock Purdy, I'm gonna shout out your boy. Brock Purdy's QBR last year was better than any Eli Manning's QBR for his entire career. His best year you could put up there, Brock Purdy was better than him QBR wise last year. And he only played 2 seasons.
Yeah, man. That's true. And we don't.
I mean, I can say that it goes back to the weapons then.
Right.
And we don't think about, we don't ever go and think about as I respect all your guys' knowledge when it comes to sports and your opinions, even though I disagree with it. We don't be like, okay, man, that guy is gonna be the next Eli Manning right there. Like we don't ever say that.
not.
We never say, hey, this is.
If we say it, it's a diss.
We don't ever say that's gonna
That
be
boy
the
Drake
next
May
Eli
is gonna
Manning.
be the new Eli Manning.
Honestly, Keel, your boy Brock Purdy might be the next Eli Manning.
Hey, we'll not. Hey,
Oh,
we'll never. We'll never know. There's only one way to find out. But hey, he's done it in 2 seasons though.
Oh, go ahead.
And I just don't see. And when you look at all the quarterbacks that's made it into the Hall of Fame, we have never questioned them. Hey, is he going to be in the Hall of Fame? And that goes back to what you said. If you have to think about it, if you have to question it, then he ain't a first ballot Hall of Famer, man.
That's a fact. And you know what else? One of them might be questionable, but how many? First of all, Manning got that LeBron James effect that y'all always speak about. Most quarterbacks with his numbers in his first 5 years would not have still been a starting quarterback. That's number one. But that Manning on his back. Number two, it's not that many quarterbacks that have had three different top 10 receivers in their prime on his team during their career. It's not that many.
Yeah,
Plexico,
yeah,
Victor Cruz, and OBJ was all a top 10 receiver at some point during their time with Eli.
yeah, that's true.
Top 10, yeah.
And they had that nasty front seven too with that defense with OC, Jason Pierre-Paul, Strahan. Like I thought Strahan should have been MVP on the first year when they won the Super Bowl.
And we forgot about Hakeem Nicks. Hakeem Nicks was a dog before he
Oh
got hurt.
yeah, Hakeem Nicks
He
also.
was a dog.
I don't know, man. That's a stretch there.
Brandon Ayuk.
That's a good one. That might be him. That's a great one. Damn.
Yeah, but Hakeem Nicks never got like a big contract like that though.
I
They
think he
wasn't
got
giving out
I think he was
contracts like
before.
that back then, though.
Victor Cruz took his spot with that preseason run he did.
And going
Yeah, that
going
was
back
crazy.
to the
I still remember that.
going back to the Manny thing, I do think that one of the reasons why makes him a good case is because he's a Manning. Like you look at Eli, he's won in 17 as a starter. You look at Peyton Manning, I
Yeah,
think he's
Hennessy,
won.
man.
If you look at Peyton, he's won 86 and 179 as a starter.
Damn,
I'm
I didn't know
taking
that
Peyton.
either.
I'm taking Peyton Manning regardless, man. I'm taking Peyton Manning over Eli Manning, man. Under pressure or not,
Really?
I'm still taking Eli. I'm Peyton Manning, man.
I don't think that's even a debate, man. Peyton
But
Manning
Peyton,
is.
yeah, come on, man.
Eli's proven to be more clutch, but I'm still taking Peyton. That's how bad Eli really is. Like I'm still gonna take Peyton. And Eli's proven that he's better in the clutch, and I'm not gonna take him over his brother in the clutch.
But
Give me my. I'll
like
take
I
that
said,
pick.
he had 2 great runs, but outside of that, the other 4 years, he wasn't good in the playoffs.
Facts.
But those 2
And
years, he was phenomenal.
And
But
you
that's
look
what I
at
was about to say. Those 2 years, that make you forget about those other 4, man. Just
But that's what I
you-
was saying about Kurt Warner. Like Kurt Warner didn't have a lot of starts in his career, but the year he had in Arizona, getting them to the Super Bowl, and those couple of years in St. Louis, you got to put him in the Hall of Fame. It was just incredible what he did. So that's
he
why
wasn't
I
even
put
too
him
bad
in
when he was at the Giants.
and
Yeah, well,
A real quick question about.
and the last thing, if you look at Eli's last 8 seasons, also he only made the playoffs once. Uh, during that time in his career.
Let me
Hey,
ask
this
y'all
is
one
the
word
first time.
answer.
This is the first time we've all agreed.
Right,
on
right,
the
right.
top. Everybody said he's not first ballot, but he is a Hall of Famer.